Alrighty. Hello everyone, Penmaster47 here and welcome to day 5, the second to last day of Titanic Week 2025. Today is April 14th, 1912. What would be, uh, the 14th of 1912. A Sunday that year. I'm just enjoying myself in the, D-Deck reception room, and we're going to be continuing work on the dining room. Alright, today is kind of a, eventful one. When will that continue? I don't know if it will. Just, for a couple of reasons, but I'm not going to get into those reasons, due to, I have a lot to explain and not a lot of time to do it, so. Yes, April 14th, would be a Sunday in the early hours of the morning. Wireless operators Phillips and Bride would have fixed the Marconi wireless set because due to it was a transformer burning through its casing and hitting one of the bolts holding the whole thing together. They fixed it with some rubber tape and everything was good. Phillips elected to take the watch afterwards, as it was still technically, I think it was his shift, if not, well, I think, see if I remember how this went. It was Bride's shift, I believe, but Phillips elected to take it as Harold Bride had not been given a proper break, if you will, between his shifts, and I guess Phillips felt bad. So he gave him the next shift off. Unfortunately, this would house a couple of issues. Because of this result. In the passenger world of things, we'll come back to Phillips and Bride here in a moment. In the passenger world of things, today is the day where a first-class passenger would slip and break her arm. I was wrong. She fell down 6 or 7 steps on the staircase, broke her arm, and it was put in a sling. However, that didn't stop her from enjoying the evening, or the, well, evening and day's festivities, if you will. A couple first-class passengers, their names I don't remember. I know I'm not the best reliable source of information. Would host a dinner party for Captain Smith, in which he would attend. Although, like earlier, he would not stay too long, as he had his duties up on the bridge to attend to. News came in of Titanic's mileage over dinner, or over noon, and I was way wrong about the mileage. She was averaging, I believe, 22 knots now. She was speeding up a little bit, which was, all things considered, wonderful, considering Titanic, brand new ship, her engines weren't broken in yet. And today, Titanic would actually sail through fog. or not fog. She hit fog yesterday. She would actually sail through a patch of rain today, although it only lasted like 20 minutes. The weather would also noticeably shift from being warm the previous days to now being a bit chilly towards sunset. Are you serious? We broke a block right there. Please say one of these I can get down to a room. So yeah. All things considered, tonight was considered a perfect, one of the most perfect nights on board Titanic. Sit. Oh, yeah. The passengers watched the beautiful sunset, which I do remember her name. First class passenger Edith Rosenbaum would recall as being blood red. Which I do know a type of, like, I've seen sunsets like that where, like, where I work on top of a hill, and we look out the window every night to watch sunset. It's actually quite beautiful. Afterwards, everybody, most of the passengers get ready for bed. Some passengers would continue to be awake for one reason or another, of course. I did forget to mention a church service was held out in the first class dining salon by Captain Smith himself earlier in the morning. There is a lot of information about this day. In second class, I don't know church service, but there was a church service in the dining room, and then there was a separate one in the library. And after the second class church service, the same person who held the service in the second class library also went down to the third class to hold their church service that morning. So very, all things considered, it does seem like a perfect evening, I guess, if you will. Perfect day. We all know how that would change later, being as today is the 14th. Today is also Titanic's final day at sea, above the ocean, if you will, however you may see it. Unfortunately, I will not be able to stream today at the exact time Titanic sank, which would be from the hours of 11:40 to tonight to 2:20 a.m. tomorrow morning. I do request that all of you if you all would like or have been enjoying Titanic week so far, a final video will be going out tomorrow, or final stream will be going out tomorrow by me for this week. If you guys would like to catch that, it is going to be a quite sad stream, all things considered, due to the events of what will be happening tonight. 11:40 p.m. to 2:20 will be the final hours. I think I just said that. I do recommend watching one of those Titanic sinking in real-time videos during the hours. It is a different experience entirely, rather than if you just watch it like regularly, as opposed to quote-unquote during the sinking. So, yeah, I think that's all the information I have about today. And since I won't be here to go over it tomorrow, I might as well. Little spoiler alert for, I guess, Titanic week, or how this week ends. Spoiler alert, for those of you who don't know, 11:40 or 11:39 rolls around, and all seems calm, quiet. The ocean is described as like a sheet of glass. It was very calm. There was no moon out. Officers on the bridge, including Captain Smith, describe it as eerily calm. Which, calm seas are good and bad. Good because obviously you don't have waves, bash around the ship. But also bad because if there is something, in front of you that you can't see, you're obviously not going to have, like an iceberg, for an example. You're not going to see waves bouncing off the base to make it easier to spot. Previously in the day, we'll go over a few more. Titanic has been receiving multiple ice warnings of many ships, one of these being the SS Californian. A Leyland-lined steamer, who I think is making roughly the same trip as Titanic. One thing to note about them is they, at this point, well, at some point, were stopped by ice. By a ice barrier, if you will, all around the ship. And they have stopped for the night, and they are noticed Titanic being the closest ship to them. Give them warnings. About, hey, there's ice nearby, just be careful. There's ice nearby, and Titanic, or Jack Phillips, who is at the wireless apparatus at this point, would tell the Californian to keep out and shut up, due to him working Cape Race, and also very irritable because of little sleep from the night before. Californian wireless operator Cyril Evans would log off for the night and go to sleep. Now, Titanic had 2 wireless operators. Most ships only had 1. So that's basis for this Titanic, I believe, had two because of it being a newer ship, and a lot more people would want to hear about how it's doing. Which, if you guys don't know what working Cape Race means, it is essentially Cape Race is in Canada, I believe. If I'm wrong again, please correct me. And what would happen is when a ship got in range, Titanic offered this service. I don't know how many more ships would have, but Titanic offered a service where first-class passengers could write down messages and send them to the Marconi room for the operators to then send to land. Well, there went a light. So, and to do that, you'd have to have the. And I believe Titanic was just coming in range. If not, they were still very far away from Cape Race. You would have to turn the volume up, if you will, to pretty high in order to hear responses from Cape Race. Due to the Californian being roughly, we'll say 30-ish miles away from Titanic, you can imagine the buzzes and clicks being very loud. It was reported Phillips actually threw the headset off of him. Very angry, of course. And this has actually been a topic of discussion for many years of the crew's negligence of ice warnings. The argument being they were warned about the ice. They didn't slow down, which has a very good reasoning behind it, but whatever. And, yeah. My interpretation of it is, and the way I've always seen it was not the Titanic's, crew's fault. It was more the fact that, yeah, whatever. So, we also, so when Smith would return on the bridge, Second Officer Charles Lightoller is in charge. And Smith asks the normal questions, like anything, was there anything to be worried about? Anything I should know about? And Lightoller, before he steps off his shift, before he gives his shift to First Officer William Murdoch, he does say there was a slight haze on the horizon, but he didn't think anything of it. Due to it being so clear, they thought they could see as far as the horizon, 26 miles away. They thought, if anything, if anything big enough to be a threat to Titanic is going to be in our way. You know, if anything, that big that it's going to be a threat to the largest man-made moving object in the world at the time. We're going to see it, and it's going to be fine. The haze that Lightoller was mentioning was a cold water mirage due to the warm water or the cold water of the Labrador Current and the warm water of the Gulf Stream mixing together and creating a mirage, essentially camouflaging the iceberg until it was too late. So Murdoch on watch. Everything goes smoothly into the night. Until 11:39 p.m., where lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee, well, Fleet especially, would see the iceberg, ring the bell, the ship's bell 3 times, signaling something dead ahead. Which, that's how the bell worked. And of course, everyone knows this scene from the film. The bell's rung 3 times. He phones the bridge. 6th Officer James Moody picks up the phone. He says, "Is there anything..." Or Fleet says, "Is there anyone there?" Moody replies, "Yes, what do you see?" And Fleet utters his famous word, or says his famous line that he's known for. "Iceberg dead ahead." So, yes, we all know where this is going. Now, a ship's bell worked pretty much as if the lookout rang it once. I believe it was something... there was something to the right. If there was something to the left, it was rang twice. However, if the bell was rang 3 times, it meant something was dead ahead. And they weren't wrong, of course. So iceberg dead ahead. Moody responds with a thank you. The ship now really only has a minute, like 40 seconds to a minute, they have to react. So Murdoch gives the order hard to starboard, which back at this time meant hard to port. And he throws the engines in reverse. Now, due to the nature of Titanic's engines, only the outer 2 propellers could go in reverse. The central propeller was driven by a turbine and was not geared to be able to go in reverse. However, this decision may have sealed Titanic's fate. Again, it's been topic of discussion, of debate for many years, of course. The ship turns, but unfortunately not enough. and at 11:40 p.m., Titanic makes contact with the iceberg, ripping a gash within the span of, I believe, well, the gash wasn't ripping a bunch of small seams in the hull, uh, in an area that was, I believed, in total to be 200 feet long between. And we all know the thing. Titanic hits the iceberg, opens up 6 out of her 16 watertight compartments. Technically 6. And the engines are thrown hard to port so that the propellers wouldn't be in danger of hitting the iceberg. Titanic hits, and from this point forward, it is a race against time for the crew, for the passengers, and unfortunately, over 1,500 of everybody on board would unfortunately perish uh, over the course of tonight and tomorrow morning. So, yeah. Um, I I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's a very unfortunate maritime disaster that, in all reality, we don't know everything about Titanic's final moments. But researchers have been trying to uncover the secrets for years. And if you guys would like to learn more information about the disaster itself, please, by all means, go watch a by all means, go watch a Titanic sinking video tonight between the hours of 11:40 and 2:20 in the morning. There will be a pop quiz tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. Be cool, though. And we will. And with that being said, I just want to finish this little space in the floor pattern here. I was going to do a really cool sign off, and I just kind of ruined it. Okay, give me like 2 seconds. So yeah, I do recommend watching the one by Titanic Honor and Glory. They're the team who is trying to digitally recreate the Titanic for a video game by the same name, Honor and Glory. So by all means, go check them out. I think they're going to cook up something special for the sinking tonight, so stay tuned by them. And with that being said, everyone, I've been your host. Well, yeah, I've been your host, Pac-Man Master 47, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the final day of Titanic Week 2025. Bye-bye!